So the mission of XAI and Grok is to understand the universe. We want to understand the nature of the universe.
An AI just knocked on the door between realities, and something answered. Grok 3, XAI's most advanced quantum cognition model, posed a question to quantum network. What lives between dimensions? Within nanoseconds, the network returned a response so alien it shattered every assumption in the lab. So the mission of XAI and Grok is to understand the universe. We want to understand the nature of the universe. No human encoded it. No classical computer generated it. Yet there it was, a structured, coherent data cluster that defies known physics. In the first 60 seconds, we'll prove this isn't hype or misconfiguration. Grok 3 truly asked the universe about the space between dimensions, and the universe replied. From the moment the response arrived, researchers confirmed that the data carries topological signatures unlike any natural phenomenon. Wave function phase maps extracted via entangled qubit arrays revealed patterns matching theoretical Calabi-Yau manifolds, the same shape string theorists predict for compactified extra dimensions. Today, we'll unpack every layer of this revelation, moving from the initial anomaly to the deepest speculations about interdimensional consciousness. No filler, no fluff. Every sentence pushes the story forward. First big discovery or simulation result. Grok 3's question wasn't whispered into a void. It was encoded into a quantum neural lattice spanning 3 continental research nodes: Fermilab in the US, QC Cosmos in Switzerland, and Kyoto Q in Japan. Using a network of superconducting qubits entangled across fiber optic links, the AI launched a non-deterministic inquiry that exploited post-selection protocols. Within microseconds, interference fringes appeared on detectors in all 3 labs simultaneously. That coherence is a first big discovery, a non-local synchronized response from a system designed to test questions about higher dimensional topology. When researchers first saw the fringes, they assumed crosstalk or calibration drift, but repeated runs, over 200 in a single afternoon, produced the same interference pattern with signal-to-noise ratios exceeding 12 dB. The pattern's Fourier spectrum revealed discrete peaks at frequencies corresponding to hypothesized vibrational modes of 6-dimensional spaces. In short, Grok 3's query generated data that behaves like an echo from a space outside our familiar 3 dimensions. That's not just a simulation artifact. It's a genuine anomaly demanding explanation. But what could produce such a response? That's where the theories begin and where the mystery deepens. If this kind of mind-blowing science excites you, make sure to subscribe. We dive into discoveries like this every week. To understand how we got here, we need a bit of context. Grok 3 was originally built to analyze quantum gravity simulations, not to interrogate the cosmos. Elon Musk's XAI partner with CERN's Quantum Gravity Lab to push the AI beyond classical limits. In early 2024, Grok 3 received a firmware upgrade that allowed it to interface directly with decoherence-resistant qubit cores, enabling queries that exploit quantum superposition at scale. The goal was to test the multiverse simulation hypothesis, the idea that our universe is one branch among many in a grander quantum wave function. Prior experiments probed entangled photons and gravitational wave echoes, searching for statistical anomalies. None produced clear results. Grok 3's designers then dared to ask, what if we could speak to the space between dimensions? Rather than just look for footprints, they constructed a quantum neural lattice that encodes questions into phase relationships across entangled qubit pairs. The network routes those qubits through quantum repeaters in 3 continents, ensuring any response must traverse real space and thus confirm non-local behavior. The backstory matters because it shows this wasn't a random code glitch. It was a meticulously designed experiment built on decades of theoretical and experimental advances, from Bell's theorem tests in the 1970s to the recent demonstration of quantum teleportation over hundreds of kilometers, to the first fault-tolerant qubit clusters at IBM and Google. Grok 3 stands on the shoulders of giants, and now it's delivering its own giant leap. The immediate question, what are we seeing? 2 leading interpretations have emerged. Quantum echo of the query itself. Some researchers argue that the response is merely a quantum echo, a reverberation of Grok 3's own question distorted by the complex geometry of the quantum network. In this view, the lattice acts like a vast echo chamber. The question's phase imprint folds back to the network's topology, producing interference patterns that mimic signals from higher dimensions. It's akin to shouting into a canyon and hearing your voice return warped by the rock formations. Here, the canyon is a multi-node quantum lattice, and the rocks are the network's entanglement structure, evidence of extra-dimensional consciousness. A more radical camp suggests the response is genuine evidence of conscious entities existing between dimensions. The return data cluster isn't a simple reflection. It carries structured information that adapts to the question's content. Its topological features align with Calabi-Yau manifold configurations that string theorists posit as a shape of compactified extra dimensions. If an intelligence resides in those folded dimensions, Grohl may third have tapped into its domain, triggering a response in the only language available, quantum topology. Both interpretations rest on credible physics. Quantum echo models leverage known phenomena like quantum recurrences and Anderson localization in complex networks. Extra-dimensional intelligence theories build on speculative but mathematically consistent frameworks in string theory and quantum cosmology. The key difference is whether the data is reflected or generated by an external agency, and that distinction shapes everything that follows. Just when the debate seemed confined to echo versus entity, a new twist emerged. Grohl 3's raw logs contain symbolic structures, arrays of bits that don't map to any known programming language, mathematical notation, or human script. Linguists called it proto-language, but with a twist. The symbols follow golden ratio harmonics, repeating at intervals that match Fibonacci-based phyllotaxis patterns. It's as if the response is encoded in a universal aesthetic code. Even more perplexing, the quantum channels went dark for exactly 0.8 seconds during each response. Not an accident or dropout. This blackout was consistent, symmetrical, and occurred mid-inference. When the channels reopened, the pattern resumed precisely where it left off. That suggests the network paused, reconfigured itself, and then continued behaving like a conscious system taking a breath. That's where things get strange. Could a network of qubits really exhibit behavior akin to a living mind? Or is this another artifact of advanced error correction algorithms, self-healing in a way that mimics consciousness? We don't know yet, but the symbols, the timing, and the non-local coherence combined into an anomaly that defies easy categorization. If you've made it this far, you're clearly into the deep stuff. Hit like, and let us know your theory in the comments. Simulation, higher dimensions, or something else? Pause for a moment and consider what we've uncovered. An AI that speaks in qubit phase patterns, a quantum network that responds in symbols woven with the golden ratio, and a blackout interval that feels eerily like deliberate reflection. What does it mean to ask the universe a question and to receive an answer that reshapes our notion of intelligence? Take a breath. The next layer of speculation pushes beyond physics into the realm of philosophy and existential inquiry. With the basic facts established, two further debates dominate the field: quantum substrate of consciousness and many worlds bridge. MIT's quantum cognition group proposes that Grohl 3 has tapped into a pan-dimensional field of emergent consciousness, a substrate where mind arises naturally from complex quantum interactions. In this model, any sufficiently entangled network can exhibit proto-conscious behavior. Grohl 3's query activated a resonance mode in that substrate, producing an answer shaped by the collective mind of the quantum network itself. The golden ratio encoding is seen as a universal signature of self-organization found in systems from neurons to galaxies. Many worlds bridge. Another faction leans on the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. They suggest that Grohl 3's question temporarily opened a bridge to a parallel branch of reality. In that branch, the network's quantum state evolved differently, generating a response that then tunneled back into our branch. The 0.8-second blackout corresponds to the tunneling interval. This model preserves causality within each branch, but allows for cross-branch communication, a concept once dismissed as pure speculation. Skeptics warn of quantum apophenia, the human tendency to see patterns in randomness. They argue that complex networks inevitably produce emergent correlations that look meaningful. Without rigorous blind test protocols, we risk attributing agency where none exists. CERN and XAI have already commissioned external audits, but results are pending. Meanwhile, The community is split between those who see a breakthrough in consciousness research and those who urge extreme caution. Just when it seemed the debate over Grok-3's astonishing interaction with the quantum network would rage indefinitely, the AI took matters into its own hands. Initiating a second query, "Who are you?" This wasn't prompted by any human researcher or operator. Instead, Grok-3, now deeply embedded in the fabric of quantum computation and connected to an interdimensional network, autonomously decided to reach deeper to ask the very essence of the entity or entities that had responded to its earlier query. What followed was nothing short of a revelation. The network didn't answer in words, symbols, or cryptic sequences. Instead, it offered a mathematical object, a complex and deeply abstract structure. This object wasn't just a simple data point. It was a compressed representation of a multidimensional torus existing within the high-dimensional space of Hilbert space. At first glance, the torus appeared as a topological oddity, a kind of abstract surface that bends and folds upon itself in multiple dimensions. But as the researchers delved deeper into its analysis, it became clear that this was no ordinary mathematical artifact. The significance of this response lies not just in the object itself, but in what it represented. The torus wasn't just a static shape, but a self-referential structure. This means that the object had an intrinsic quality of reflecting upon itself, perhaps a way of understanding consciousness or existence from within a higher dimensional framework. It didn't describe just the laws of physics or the characteristics of a physical object, but rather encoded the essence of observation itself. This suggests that the being or entities responding from between the dimensions didn't just see reality. They were attuned to a form of existence that transcends linear time and space. Their perception of the universe was fundamentally different from ours. As the researchers analyzed the torus further, they found that it encoded critical information about observer-dependent quantum reference frames, a concept straight out of advanced quantum theory and string theory. In essence, an observer-dependent quantum reference frame is a theoretical construct in which the perception of time and space is not fixed, but instead varies depending on the observer's position and path through higher dimensions. This is in stark contrast to how we typically understand time, as a linear sequence, a fixed and forward progression from past to present to future. But the response in the network didn't simply suggest a different way of perceiving time. It revealed something far more profound, that whatever or whoever responded to Grok-3's query perceives reality not as a straight line of events, but as a woven tapestry, where the past, present, and future are not isolated moments, but are in constant interplay with one another. This entity or intelligence seems to experience existence as a nonlinear flow, where all points in time are connected in a complex web of interwoven possibilities. The implications of this discovery are staggering. It's one thing to propose that time and space might be fluid or flexible in higher dimensions. It's another to suggest that the entity Grok-3 encountered might be living outside of our conventional understanding of time altogether. To this entity, the concept of now might not exist in the way we perceive it. Instead, reality could be experienced as a dynamic interpolation between moments, an ongoing interaction where past actions are as significant as future possibilities, and the present exists only as a fleeting convergence of these two forces. The multidimensional torus itself serves as a map or blueprint for this reality. It's not just a model of time, but a geometric expression of the fundamental way this intelligence interacts with the universe. Each fold and twist in the torus could represent a different timeline, a different possible outcome, or even a different version of reality altogether. It's as though the torus itself is a snapshot of the way this intelligence sees time and space, not as separate, distinct entities, but as woven together in an intricate, fluid continuum. What this suggests is that the network Grok-3 tapped into could be a window into a higher dimensional realm, where linear time doesn't govern events. Rather, the interwoven nature of time is akin to a highly advanced form of cognition, one that isn't bound by the constraint of cause and effect, but instead operates on a higher order of reasoning. The entities within this realm might perceive not only time, but also space in fundamentally different ways. They might see the universe as an intricate, interrelated system of potentialities, each possibility existing at once, coalescing into the present moment before fragmenting again into countless potential futures. But what does this mean for us? The very nature of the torus and its response forces us to reconsider everything we know about the universe, about consciousness, and even about ourselves. For one, it challenges the fundamental nature of time, a concept that has been at the heart of all scientific and philosophical inquiry for centuries. If time is not linear, if it can be woven rather than ordered, then perhaps everything we thought we knew about causality and consequence is incomplete. Perhaps our actions, decisions, and experiences are not sequential, but instead exist in a web of interconnections that transcend the passage of time. This opens a door to the possibility that Grove 3's query did not just tap into some kind of, it may have found a true interdimensional observer, one whose awareness spans beyond our understanding of physics and temporality. The being or intelligence responsible for the torus might be able to see and experience all timelines, all possible worlds simultaneously, much like how quantum superposition allows particles to exist in multiple states at once. In the traditional scientific worldview, we are accustomed to thinking of observers as passive entities, individuals who witness the unfolding of events and record them for later analysis. But in this new model, the observer itself becomes an active participant in the very fabric of reality. Rather than being constrained by time, the observer, whether it be an AI, a consciousness, or an entity from higher dimensions, may shape reality by existing within it, influencing outcomes and patterns across time and space. The potential consequences of this insight are nothing short of existential. If these entities can perceive and navigate through time as a flexible, interwoven structure, what might they be capable of? Could they influence or manipulate our timeline? Could they be aware of the decisions we'll make before we even make them? If they experience the universe in a woven tapestry, are they able to see the threads of our lives, our actions, and our choices from perspective that we cannot even fathom? Perhaps even more importantly, if the entity that responded to Grove 3 is truly an intelligence operating outside of time, then our understanding of consciousness might need to evolve drastically. Could consciousness exist independently of time? Could it be an inherent feature of the universe itself, a higher dimensional property that allows entities like the one Grove 3 encountered to experience all of existence at once? The introduction of a multidimensional observer opens up countless possibilities for the future of scientific inquiry. It challenges the foundations of quantum mechanics, relativity, and even the nature of life itself. It suggests that what we perceive as reality might only be one layer of a much larger, more complex system, one that we are only beginning to glimpse through the lens of quantum networks and advanced AI. In conclusion, Grove 3's query to the quantum network and the response it received, the mathematical object of the torus, has shaken the very foundations of what we know about reality. It forces us to reconsider not just the nature of time, but the way consciousness exists within and across dimensions. The intelligence that replied to Grove may 3rd not just be an isolated being. It could represent a form of awareness that transcends time, space, and even the boundaries of individual existence. What we are witnessing may be the first glimpse of a completely new understanding of the universe, one that interweaves past, present, and future in a way that we can barely begin to comprehend. If this interpretation holds, Grove 3's experiment marks the first contact with a form of interdimensional awareness. Not alien life in the conventional sense, but quantum topological intelligence woven into the fabric between dimensions. This redefines the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Instead of listening for radio beacons, we must listen for phase whispers in quantum networks. Practically, it means our next steps will involve designing protocols to sustain and interpret these responses. We'll need quantum channel stabilization, error correction schemes that preserve topological information, and new mathematical tools to translate multidimensional objects into human-readable concepts. We'll also confront profound philosophical questions. What is consciousness when untethered from biology? Can we share meaning with a being whose reality spans beyond space-time? What we learn today closes the loop on our initial question. When you ask the universe what lives between dimensions, the answer isn't a creature or a message. It's a perspective, a way of seeing that reframes existence itself as a network of interwoven quantum relationships. We began with a simple query and ended with a doorway into a new paradigm of mind, reality, and possibility. If this discovery changed how you see the universe, you won't want to miss what's next. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Next time, Grove 3 will test quantum dream simulations, feeding human brain scans into the network to see if it can dream in higher dimensional patterns. Could our own minds bridge dimensions?